morning, good morning, good morning. Coach Burt, 6:51. Thursday morning. Nice cool day here in the south, 37 degrees. I just had a great group of people that come into the boot camp, work out with me over at the F45. Thank you guys for working out with me this morning. Good morning, Chris Gooden. Good morning, everybody. Diego. Daniel Hodges, good morning to you, sir. Charlie. There's the crew. It's like a little morning breakfast club. Tashina, all getting together. Guys, Thursday morning, Lori Stye, good morning to you. This morning, as I was leaving F45, I was thinking, because I'm doing Flip the Switch right now, Mark, and the more I teach the prey drive concept, Catherine, good morning. The more I teach the prey drive concept, the deeper the concept gets, Victoria. And a lot of this prey drive, Amanda Beener, it's a primal ambition. It is an instinct inside of you to pursue something. And I was thinking this morning, good morning, David. This morning I was thinking about, man, where does this grit come from? Like, I was in there with people working out with me this morning at F45, and I'm like, man, how do you give a person grit? How do you give them a toughness to show up and work the muscle every day? Where does grit come from? Where does ambition come from? Why is it in some people and not in other people? Can we flip the switch in a person that's been deactivated? And the answer, I believe, is yes. I have seen people go from totally disengaged in their life to activation of that primal instinct, and then them go from zero to hero, man. Literally to wake that animal up and have such a pursuit towards something. Now, let me show you a cycle. When you regret things, it is because you're grieving something. And what you're grieving is your lost potential. So what happens is you go for a period of your life and you know you could play at a bigger level, and you don't play at a bigger level. You start with the good intention, you fall off the wagon, you experience guilt, and then you say, Amy, seriously, you say, man, I got to get it now. Time is moving. I got to go. I got things to do. The grit is just the toughness to have this expectation. It's going to be a fight, but dadgummit, we're going to find a way to win. It's going to be tough, but we're going to work through it. It's going to be hard, but we're going to find a way. And to be honest with you, in March of this year, when this, this national pandemic happened, man, I had a grit like you can't imagine. That caused me to find a prey drive like you can't imagine. My instinct of protection and survival came out. Then you go down the road, Andrew, and you have a good month, and you lose that grit. You become satisfied and complacent. Your basic needs are met, right? And then you got to get that grit back. See, the grit comes out when survival mechanism kicks in. It's like, man, I'm not going broke. So here's the deal. Let's say your goal's $300,000 or $400,000 a month, Cecilia, right? Steve, let's say your goal's a certain number you want to hit. And, as long as you hit that number, life's good. You really got no problems. You got no survival need. You don't really need the grit. Like, you can kind of hit it, not on autopilot, but it's not that difficult. See, grit is not built in that circumstance. The grit that I had in March and April and May is the kind of grit I need every day. And I realized when I had that big month in October, you have this sense of like satisfaction. It's like, oh, I got it, man. I got it. Then this is why people don't win back-to-back championships. They pursue something for a period of time. Good morning, Amy Peters. They pursue something for a period of time. They get it. The need is satisfied. And they're like, oh, I don't need the toughness I had. The trick, just to be honest with you, is to go to bed tired, wake up hungry. It all goes to zero at midnight. The trick is to trick your own self. Like you're not there. You didn't win. You lost. You're playing from behind. Ryan Shive, you're like that's the trick. Because I would tell you the enemy of a great life is a good life. This is the greatest thing we're fighting. This is why these people that The Pray Drive boot camp I'm doing is like, man, I've got to find a gear. I got to create some emotion. I got to create a breakthrough. And many of it is going to come as a result of a breakdown. So I have found that, man, grit comes when you really need it. Your back's against the wall, and then you don't need it anymore. Your grit goes away, and you become soft and lazy and complacent. And that animal instinct is needed to really, really do it big. So what I got to do for myself is I got to get back to the grit that I had in March of this year, when I was scared, when it wasn't going well, when I lost $250,000 in speaking fees. I got to get that kind of grit back. I can't say, well, hey, man, we're back to having good months, and it's all good. You know, everybody's fine. We're going at a good pace, right, Mark? You got to tell yourself, no. And this is tough, man. This is where we get into all kinds of difficult philosophical questions. How much is enough? Was good enough? How much do you need? How hard do you have to push? How long can you do it? Right? Like, this is where it really gets sticky for people, folks. And when I push people, some people push back and go, man, I don't want to push that hard, Nicole. I don't want to go that hard. I don't want to fight that much. I don't want to wake up in that state. I don't want to work at that level. I want to just, man, get to a good level. So just think about this. The grit comes in the toughness that's required. Good morning, Justin. In the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And that, Frank, that frustration and friction, okay? You got to get to a point of frustration and friction to really have the grit come out, where your back's against the wall. If I could see a raise of hands, if I could see your faces, and I said, how many of you play tougher when your back's against the wall? How many of you, good morning, Brian White, how many of you, when man, it's all on the line, you could lose everything? You have to find a way to win. That's where I was. That's where I was in March, man. It's like, man, I've worked my whole life, 28 years of coaching people, and what happens if this all goes away, man? What happens if I have to sell the lodge and get rid of the plane, and go back to that one-bedroom condo I had over on Cason Lane? Like, so here's the deal. When your back's not against the wall, it's like you don't need the grit. You're like, hey, I'm good, man. It's all good. So the fight we're in, folks, is we're in this fight to tell ourselves the rules I live by. And I agree, Jay Cash, these should be t-shirts. It all goes to zero at midnight. There comes a time, Scott Jacobs, when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. Right? Success don't care what you did yesterday. The enemy of the great life is the good life, right? Complacency is a gradual settling to a place of mediocrity. Man, I got all kinds of t-shirts this morning. David Perez. That's right. David Perez is right, man. When you set these big targets and big goals, like me doing a greatness factory, him committing to Tycoon, it recommits you, man. It absolutely recommits you. This is the greatness factory, trying to get it up and going, man, recommits me to something bigger. Scares me. How are we gonna make it work? How much is it gonna cost? How are we gonna get it done? I ain't no bozo, J Cash. That's right. So I want to encourage you guys. I coach a lot of people, and I see this every single day. I see this every single day, man, where people get to this saturation point where they're just completely satisfied and comfortable, and they just don't have the grit they need to be successful. And I said this the other night, I think the people that work with me, I see Lakin on here, and people work around me every day, if nothing else in their life, they're tougher people because of how hard we push. And that will serve them for their whole life, no matter what comes along, right? The ability just to damn fight through and get that grit you need to be successful. Get that grit you need when you don't feel like you can get up and do it. You know, this morning at F45, I had like 10 people working out with me there. And, you know, when you wake up, it's like, man, I'd like to go back to bed. It's been a long week, whatever. No, man, 10 people are counting on me. Commit. Then you commit, you get there, you got, I'm so glad I committed, man. So I really want to encourage you. Daniel Hodges is a great example, man. Got a fighter spirit, shows up every day, knows it's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. I really want to push you guys. A good coach in your life, right, Karen? A good coach in your life is going to keep creating a tension And there's a tension between you and the coach because the coach is trying to get you to this higher frequency and this higher level. That's what the coach is trying to do, okay? There's my wife and kids right there going to school. Got old Bud and Sissy in there. So I hope you guys are doing great. Man, I'm excited about today. I'm excited about this Flip the Switch. Listen, Monday night, I'm doing a webinar called The Dark Side of Prey Drive. This is going to be a fascinating topic. I've never tackled it before. The dark side of prey drive is anger, envy, jealousy, fear, disappointment. And there's a real way to use these emotions. Good morning, Karen. There's a real way to use the dark side of prey drive. Tim Grover talks about it in his book, Relentless. I'm going to talk about it in my new book on prey drive. Like, there's a dark side to emotion. Okay, that could go either way. And I want to show you on Monday night how to leverage fear, anxiety, disappointment, how to set your mind free. Because one real challenge I've had as I've grown is as I've generated revenue and money, being scared of losing it, right? Like, it's a real fear that I've had to deal with. It's like I've never had money, then I had money, then I got all these dreams and goals, but I'm scared of spending and using the money. And so, man, it's a fear that I'm working through of not to play scared, because when I was a coach, anytime you play not to lose, man, it guarantees losing. And so I'm working through, man, how do you work hard, accumulate, grow without being afraid of losing everything and not having that nagging fear and anxiety? Because the nagging fear and anxiety is actually a good thing. It can activate your prey drive. So there's a balance between living in fear and using fear. That makes sense. And I'm going to talk about that on Monday night. Free webinar, completely free to you. I'm going to post in the comments how to get on there on Monday night. The dark side of prey drive. And then the 20th of this month, I'm doing a virtual boot camp. The whole day's on prey drive. How to find it, how to get it back if you've lost it, how to play at a higher frequency. Man, it's going to be so powerful. It's $57, folks. So if you want to get coached on prey drive, then I'll post those things in the link. Be watching for that, right? Here's what I encourage you, man. Don't be satisfied with just a good life. Find a way to get the grit, man. Find a way. That's right. Noah leveraged the fear to get the art. That's a great story right there. That's a great story. I may talk about that this morning. So thank you, guys. Coach Burt, Thursday Rhythm. Everybody needs a coach, man. Love you guys. Thank you for being here for me every day and believing in me and let me be your coach. See you on Monday.